yourself first. Most men assume women notice height, muscles, or style first, but the real first impression is something far more subtle and far more revealing. When most men think about what women notice first, they tend to assume it's something obvious like height, muscles, or facial attractiveness. But psychological studies on first impressions show that women typically register something far more subtle yet far more informative. The way a man carries himself in the first 3 to 5 seconds does include posture, walking rhythm, shoulder alignment, head position, and ease of movement. These cues act as a quick assessment of confidence, emotional steadiness, and social awareness, offering more information than physical appearance alone. Posture work as an immediate blueprint of a man's inner state. Women quickly interpret whether his stance suggests self-assurance or tension. Upright posture signals calm, grounded presence, while a collapsed or overly rigid posture may imply insecurity, defensiveness, or inner stress, since posture reflects long-term habits rather than a temporary performance. Women treat it as a reliable indicator of how a man functions under pressure and interacts with the world. Yet, how a man walks becomes noticeable right away. Women observe whether the walk looks rushed, aimless, confident, or unbalanced. A steady pace with a coordinated movement suggests inner structure and a comfort and wise environment. A rush, jerky, or overly cautious walk can imply anxiety, lack of direction, or inner turbulence. Without exchanging a signal word, this movement pattern communicates a mental state, social intention, and emotional regulation. Energy presence is another aspect we may detect rapidly. This isn't about being loud or animated. It refers to the overall atmosphere a man gives off when he enters a space. Women perceive whether his presence feels heavy, chaotic, calm, or neutral. Microsignals like breath control, facial relaxation, and movement pace collectively shape this energy signature, telling a woman if the man is a center or unsettled. Eyes and attentional patterns become visible within seconds. Women often notice where and how a man directs his gaze before he says anything. A scattered gaze can indicate inner noise or discomfort, while a fixed, intense stare can feel intrusive, balanced, respectful, situationally aware. Eye behavior suggests composure, awareness, and controlled focus. Women treat this as a sign of psychological steadiness. Micro behaviors, small fast gestures, are surprisingly revealing. Women tend to notice fidgeting, repetitive clothing adjustments, face touching, or nervous hand movements. These behaviors signal stress level and self-doubt. They don't necessarily create a negative impression on their own, but they influence how grounded or unsettled a man appears, affecting the overall perception of his presence. Even before processing content, women pay attention to vocal qualities, tone, pace, cadence, and clarity, review confidence, emotional balance, and inner stability. A steady, measured voice communicates control and thoughtfulness. A strained or erratic tone suggests nervousness or overcompensation. Women often notice voice patterns faster than men realize, as a tone conveys emotional truth more reliably than spoken words. A few want more evidence-based insights into attraction and relationship dynamics, subscribe and turn on notification. The way a man listens during intentional interaction stands out quickly. Women Women observe whether he interrupts, overreacts, rushes responses, or shows discomfort with silence. A smooth conversational timing implies a social intelligence and emotional regulation. A disrupted timing, talking too fast, pausing inconsistently, or jumping between topics signals inner role disorganization or insecurity. Eye contact rhythm matters. Women detect whether eye contact is balanced or imbalanced. Too much eye contact can feel domineering or performative. Too little messages concealment or insecurity. Consistent and calm eye engagement creates a sense of stability and presence without forcing intensity. Women interpret this as an indicator of relational awareness. Grooming habits become noticeable shortly after the primary nonverbal cues. Women subtly evaluate hair maintenance, beard upkeep, nail cleanliness, and skin care. These markers reveal long-term discipline rather than superficial appearance. Cleanliness and basic grooming implies self-respect and routine, while neglect suggests a lack of structure or priority for personal care. Clothing fit often matters more than brand or cost. Women look at whether clothes fit properly, are appropriate for the environment, and demonstrate awareness of personal style. For fit communicates lack of self-understanding or disregard for presentation. Well chosen, well-fitted clothing signals maturity and situational awareness, even if the outfit is simple. Footwear reveals habits and lifestyle. Many women subconsciously check a man's shoes because shoes shows maintenance routine, personal priorities, and real life behavior. Worn out or dirty shoes indicate lack of care or inconsistency. Well-maintained shoes suggest reliability and attention to detail. Traits that women often value more than physical traits. Scent is one of the strongest elements of first impression formation. Women frequently notice a man's natural scent, cleanliness, and fragrance level before consciously analyzing it. A clean, subtle scent signals hygiene and control self-care. Overpowering fragrance can suggest overcompensation. A neutral, clean scent tends to create the most stable impression. Spatial awareness is another factor women observe. How a man navigates a room, handles objects, or moves around others reveals attentiveness and social calibration. Careless movement, bumping into things, or lack of coordination may imply distraction or lack of awareness. A smooth, measured interaction with the environment conveys majority and inner order. Women also notice how a man respects a permissible space. Getting too close too quickly can feel intrusive, while standing too far may imply social hesitation. Consistent, appropriate spacing demonstrates social intelligence and emotional sensitivity, qualities women often identify early and value significantly. Facial expressions matter more than men assume. Many men unintentionally project irritation, boredom, or detachment through their resting face. Women notice whether a man's default expression appears approachable or tense. A neutral but relaxed expression communicates a calm presence without forcing friendliness. Phone behavior sends signals quickly. Constant checking or gripping the phone like a security object suggests anxiety, distraction, or lack of presence. A visible dependence on digital devices makes a man appear less grounded. Women interpret a phone overuse as a potential sign of inconsistent attention in relationships or social interactions. Hand behavior is surprisingly revealing. Women notice whether hands are fidgeting, tense, hidden, or relaxed. Open, steady hand positioning signals confidence and emotional stability. Concealed or restless hands indicate nervousness or discomfort. These subtle cues influence perceived trustworthiness. A pace of movement shapes impression. Walking too fast suggests impatience or inner stress. Walking too slowly may indicate uncertainty or lack of motivation. A steady, purposeful pace communicates direction, self-control, and grounded intention. All markers women detect quickly. Alignment between verbal and nonverbal communication is a critical element. Women rapidly notice when a man's body language contradicts his words. If he claims confidence but displays avoidance or tension, the inconsistency becomes more memorable than the message. Alignment builds credibility from the start. Emotional regulation reveals itself early. Women observe how a man responds to minor inconveniences, delays, noise, interruptions. Calm reactions indicate inner stability, while frustration or agitation suggests a volatility. These early emotional cues influence how safe or comfortable a woman feels around him. Social calibration appears in the first moments of interaction. Women watch how smoothly a man adapts to the environment, whether he waits his turn, reads cues, respects boundaries, and adjusts his tone based on the context. Poor calibration signals immaturity or lack of social intelligence. A good calibration indicates awareness and adaptability. Initial attitude toward others in the environment is noticeable. Women observe how a man treats service workers, strangers, or anyone nearby. Subtle signs of impatience, dismissal, or superiority create immediate navigate associations. Courteous, calm interaction with other signals consistency of character rather than a performance aimed at impressing. Emotional presence is something women sense quickly. This refers to how mentally aware a man seems. Men who appear preoccupied or mentally distant create a barrier. Women notice whether a man's attention is fragmented or grounded. A steady presence signals dependability and inner quiet. Women also notice the quality of silence a man brings. Some men fill silence with a nervous noise, while others maintain heavy, awkward tension. A man who holds silence comfortably signals a self-confidence and emotional maturity. Women interpret comfortable silence as a sign of psychological stability. Responsiveness to social context matters. Women notice whether a man adapts effortlessly to different settings, casual environments, professional spaces, or social gatherings. Men who resist or misread context appear rigid. Men who adjust smoothly display confidence and awareness. Another early cues is the man's relationship with space and objects. Women notice whether he treats objects with care or carelessness, placing items gently, closing doors softly, or handling things with respect. A careless treatment suggests impulsiveness or lack of consideration. This video was just the beginning. Stay with us by subscribing. Emotional predictability becomes visible faster than men expect. Women notice whether a man's behavior seems consistent or erratic. Small fluctuations in tone, pace, or movement can signal underlying instability. Predictability is often interpreted as safety and steadiness. Women also detect micro signs of age, overly performative behavior, excessive self-display, or unnecessary dominance can signal insecurity masked as confidence. Genuine confidence is a quiet, consistent, and observable through calm presence rather than attention seeking. Boundaries are immediately visible. Women notice whether a man respects conversational boundaries, personal space, timing, and emotional cues. Men who push quickly create distrust. Men who respect boundaries project emotional intelligence. Women pay attention to how a man interacts with his own discomfort. If he hides it, denies it, or overcompensates, it reveals inner conflict. Men who manage discomfort with composure appear more grounded and self-aware, making a more stable first impression. Intentionality stands out. Women notice whether a man seems purposeful or aimless, whether his actions align with his environment or appear random. Inertia signals direction and maturity, qualities that carry more weight than superficial attractiveness. Authenticity becomes visible early. Women detect forced behavior, exaggerated confidence, or overly strategic actions. Authentic behavior feels consistent and non-performative. Women respond more positively to authenticity because it suggests emotional honesty. Relational awareness is also noticeable. Women assess whether a man demonstrates sensitivity to social dynamics, reading tone shifts, responding appropriately, and adjusting his approach. This awareness signals compatibility and communication intelligence. Ultimately, the first thing women notice in a man isn't a physical trait, but a composite of subtle signals, posture, presence, energy, tone, consistency, and emotional regulation. These cues collectively reveal whether a man is grounded, self-aware, and stable. Women rely on this rapid assessment because it provides more accurate information about a man's character and long-term behavior than physical appearance alone. Thank you for watching. See you next time.